Good morning class. Today we will start a new chapter in history, which is chapter number 11, Political Developments, the Gupta period, AD 320 to AD 540. Okay, so let's start. Before the beginning of the Gupta period, there was a Mauryan Empire, and the Mauryan Empire was divided into many smaller kingdoms. There was a big empire by the name Mauryan Empire, and the Mauryan Empire was divided into many small kingdoms. These kingdoms were the Shakas, Pallavas and Kushanas. And the names of these small kingdoms were Shakas, Pallavas and Kushanas. And out of these three kingdoms, the most important kingdom and the most powerful kingdom was the Kushanas. It was the most powerful kingdom during the Mauryan Empire. It was established in the region of Deccan, right? It is the period before the starting of the Gupta period. Before the starting of the Gupta period, there was this kingdom of Mauryan Empire, which was divided into many smaller kingdoms of Kushanas, Pallavas and Shakas, out of which the most important or most powerful kingdom was the Kushanas in the Deccan region, right? And at the same time, there was another kingdom which was established. It was also a powerful kingdom in the Deccan region, and the name was Satavahanas. The name was Satavahanas. There was another kingdom which was powerful in the Deccan region by the name Satavahanas. And by the end of the 3rd century, these smaller kingdoms came to an end. And as the 3rd century began, what happened that the Gupta period started. In the starting of the 3rd century, Gupta period started from 320 AD to 540 AD. Okay, so let us see what were the different political developments during this period and what types of empires rose in during this period and what were the major important powerful rulers of this period, right? As we know that there were many rulers that ruled in that region. So what were the most powerful rulers of this region, right? Of this period, that is the Gupta period. So let us see some of the powerful rulers of the Gupta period. The first one was the Chandragupta I, and the second one was the Samudragupta, and then was the Chandragupta II. Chandragupta I was the son of Samudragupta. Chandragupta I was the son of Samudragupta. Samudragupta was the father of Chandragupta I, and the son of Chandragupta II was Kumargupta. His son was Kumargupta. So let us start with Chandragupta I. Chandragupta I ruled in the northern region of India and he conquered the land of Magadha. Chandragupta I conquered the land of Magadha and he set up the capital at Pataliputra. When he conquered the land of Magadha, he set up the capital of Magadha at Pataliputra, right? And he ruled in the northern region of India. And he was given the title Maharaja Dhiraj. He was given the title of Maharaja Dhiraj. And the meaning of Maharaja Dhiraj is King of Kings. The meaning of Maharaja Dhiraj is King of Kings. Okay? Chandragupta I also revived the various principles of Ashoka. Chandragupta I also revived the teachings of Ashoka. Ashoka was a very famous ruler who was famous for his non-violent approach to conquering the different kingdoms. Ashoka was very fond of the non-violence ways of conquering lands, and he was very much against the wars that used to take place at that time. Different rulers used to conquer lands by the means of wars. They used to do many wars so that they can conquer the different lands of different rulers. But Ashoka was very much influenced when he saw the scenes of the aftermath of the war. Ashoka saw the devastation that a war did to the people. After one war, he noticed that how so many bodies were lying on the ground, and he was very much affected. He was very much influenced by the scene, and he adopted the way of non-violence. He was very much against the violence means of conquering the lands. So this ruler, which was the Chandragupta I, was the ruler who revived the Ashoka's principles. He also supported Ashoka's principles and he revived those principles. Then the son of Chandragupta I was Samudragupta. Son of Chandragupta I was Samudragupta. And Chandragupta I ruled from AD 320 to 335 AD. Okay. Then the second one is Samudragupta. He was the son of Chandragupta I. And Prayag, Prashasti are some of the inscriptions that have been engraved on pillars. These are inscriptions. What is an inscription? It is a writing with the help of a sharp object. When you engrave something with a sharp object on the surface of a wood or a stone or a pillar, etc., it is called as an inscription. So Prayag Prashasti is an inscription which has been engraved on a pillar in Allahabad. The pillar is in Allahabad, which has the inscription by the name Prayag Prashasti. And what is this Prayag Prashasti? Prayag Prashasti is basically a long sentence poem. Prayag Prashasti is a long sentence poem. That is, it is a poem which has many long sentences. Each of the sentences is quite long. And what does this poem tell? This poem tell about the tales of rule and conquests, bravery and knowledge of the ruler. You know, a Prashasti is basically a poem. It is a Sanskrit word. Prashasti comes from a Sanskrit word, and it is basically a poem which tells the tales of any ruler and his tales of bravery, conquest, how he ruled the different lands, how he conquered different lands, and you know, the knowledge that he possessed, the knowledge that the ruler had. These Prashasti are the long poems that tell about these things of the ruler. That is, how he ruled in his land and what were the conquests the lands that he conquered, and the tales of his bravery, as well as the knowledge that the ruler had. And the word Prashasti comes from the Sanskrit word, and it is a long sentence poem. Prayag Prashasti is a long sentence poem, and it is an inscription that has been engraved in a pillar in Allahabad. And the composer of this Prayag Prashasti that told the tales of the king Samudragupta, that told the tales of the bravery, of conquest, of his rule and of his knowledge, was composed by Hari Sena. Hari Sena was a court poet. He was a poet in the court of Samudragupta. He was a poet in the court of Samudragupta, and he composed the poem Prayag Prashasti. He composed the poem Prayag Prashasti. So Prayag Prashasti was composed by Hari Sena, and he was a court poet. Then the next one is Chandragupta II. The next one is Chandragupta II. Here we saw that Samudragupta ruled from AD 335 to 380. So Chandragupta's reign started from AD 380 to AD 412. Okay? And Chandragupta II ruled Pataliputra. Chandragupta ruled the land of Pataliputra, and he was given the title of Vikramaditya. The title that Chandragupta II was given was Vikramaditya. And Chandragupta II also defeated the Shakas. The land of Shakas was also defeated by Chandragupta II. He took over the ports of Bharuch, Cambay and Supara. Chandragupta II defeated the Shakas, and then he took over the ports of Bharuch, Cambay and Supara. And Chandragupta II also believed in many marriage alliances. That is, he further strengthened his position by marriage alliances. He married his daughter Vakata, king of the Deccan. He married his daughter to the Vakata, king of the Deccan. So Chandragupta II also believed in marriage alliances. What happens in a marriage alliance, that a king marries off his own daughter or his son to the son or daughter of the king of some another kingdom, so that he can gain some strategic benefit from this marriage, so that the resources could be shared, the resources could be obtained from those kingdoms, so that some political agreements can be decided upon from this marriage. You know, it creates a leverage when you marry off your daughter or son to the son or daughter of another kingdom's rulers. The relations between the two kings become very strong, and they are able to share the resources. They are able to help each other in the wars, and this helps in growing the kingdoms as well. Okay. So this was the importance of marriage alliance, and Chandragupta II believed in marriage alliance. He also married his own daughter. He married his own daughter to the king of Deccan. The king of Deccan was Vakatika. Okay. Then Chandragupta II's son was Kumargupta. The name of the son of Chandragupta II was Kumargupta. The name of the son of Chandragupta II was Kumargupta. And the last ruler of the Gupta period was Narasimha Gupta. The name of the last ruler of the Gupta period was Narasimha Gupta.